Hey y'all, welcome to the Moves You Heard podcast. I'm your host, Jaylon Harris, and I am super excited for our episode today. Not only because of my amazing guest, but because we've made it to episode 10, y'all. It has truly been such an exciting journey, so shout out to everyone who's tapped in with Moves You Heard. For today's episode, I got a chance to sit down with the one and only Jaylon Givan to discuss all things dance and purpose. This conversation was so juicy that I have to warn y'all. We literally forgot that the camera was rolling and kept talking for days. So make sure that you get some chores done while you tune in because we're going to need all of your time, okay? Jaylon Givan is the CEO and founder of Our Youth Arts and Development Program and Generated by G. Jaylon is a professional artist as well as director, educator, and youth mentor from the city of Birmingham, Alabama, currently residing in Atlanta. Mr. Givan is a founding graduate of the Alabama State University BFA dance program and has trained at prestigious institutions such as Alonzo King Lines Ballet, Dance Theater of Harlem, and Kansas City Ballet, to name a few. Givan has also trained equally in commercial dance styles, which led him to work with industry giants like Fatima Robinson, Adrian Wiltshire, Jeremy Green, and more. From the beginning of his career, dancing on stages with concert companies, to his most recent and greatest accomplishment, being featured in the newest film, The Color Purple, the sky is truly the limit with this one. Join us as we explore the I am of Jaylon Givan. Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Jaylon Harris. I'm back and I'm your host of the Moves You Heard podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we're back with another great one and a great guest. I have one of my near and dear friends, Mr. Jaylon is here. Say hey, Jaylon.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
Yes, we're so happy to have him here. He is an artist, an entrepreneur, and just an all-around inspiring and motivating person, man. And I'm just so glad to have him here. If anybody fits in the My Moves Move You brand, it's Mr. Jaylon. Okay.
That's true. That's true.
So, if you have been following us, thank you so much for being loyal listeners and loyal viewers of the Moves You Heard brand. If you're new, welcome, fam. You are now invited to the cookout. Please make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. All right. So, if you guys know, we like to start every episode with a Moves You Motivate message. And Jaylon, do you know what a Moves You Motivate message is?
Something that is going to motivate me to continue moving.
Yes. You are not wrong. So the Moves You Motivate message is either an affirmation, a prayer, maybe it's a scripture or a quote that I like to share with you all and I like to share with Jaylon. I don't tell it to him in the beginning. I like to let him know right when I'm telling you guys. And when I read it, you can let me know what your take is on it, what you feel like you value most from that, and whatever else gems you want to leave relating to that quote so that we can give our viewers and our listeners something to take back with them after they finish watching this episode.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah? All right.
I'm excited.
Okay, so today's Moves You Motivate message is let your creativity soar. Don't allow your worries to clip your wings. You were made to fly. So, Jaylon, what does that mean to you?
Wow. It really just it really aligns with where I am right now, which is just being in the space of continuously decluttering when I need to so that I continue to move in my purpose and my creativity and my walk. And so it feels like a reminder more than anything because again, like it's a place that I feel like I have been existing in lately and been intentful about making sure I exist in that space.
Yeah.
So it's really more so a reminder for me to, again, just not allow my worries to get ahead of me. And yeah, to continue to soar.
Yeah. I love what you said about the existing part.
Yeah.
I think the existing part speaks heavily to the soar of that quote. Because, you know, all of us has something creative about us, something unique about us. Everyone was made in their own realm, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes people don't realize the value of what makes them unique. Sometimes their uniqueness is their insecurity. Sometimes it's something that causes them to, you know, kind of clam up or hide or avoid certain things about themselves that they're not necessarily proud of yet. And so it's definitely a journey to learn what their uniqueness is or what their creativity is. And once they are more aware of it, then they learn to value it. They learn its worth. And then they're open to letting it fly and letting people see and not really caring what other people think. So that's why I like really what you said about existing. Because everyone has a place here to exist. Especially, oh my God, especially in this society. Like, everyone is conformed in this society of what's understanding of being accepted. Well, you know, maybe we wasn't meant to fit in. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I felt like I had to use that one for our Moves You Motivate message today, because him and I, you know, we are creatives. We are artists.
Serial creatives.
We can't fit in no box. We cannot fit in no box.
A box ain't gonna work.
Right. And y'all know me. I'm a dancer, but here I am in front of a mic. So y'all can't fit me in no box.
You can't fit in no box.
Well, thank you for that. And so everyone, please remember to keep on soaring, y'all. Y'all are beautiful and y'all are supposed to be unique. Yes. So now we're getting right into your episode. And before we get into the interview, I want to go ahead and tell them who you are. Like, who is Jaylon? Where are you from?
Okay. So my name is Jaylon Givan. I am from Birmingham, Alabama. Born and raised. I'm not playground.
Shout out.
I had to. But I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. Who am I? Wow, me as a person. Some words that I can think about when I think of myself as a person at core. It means beyond everything that the public sees, beyond my gifts and beyond my talents, beyond underneath. Okay. Some words that I think about are the words soft, the words gentle, joy, peaceful, vibrant. What are some other words? I really feel still at this age, in this moment right now, I still feel very in tune with myself as a child. So I feel like I have a very childlike spirit. So that kind of relates to soft. And I'm a person who's very passionate about not only like my gifts and what moves me. Ooh, what moves me?
Thank you.
Okay, look, all right? I'm not only passionate about what moves me far as like dance or art or anything, but I'm also just passionate about life, and getting to experience life and exist in life. It can easily be such an undervalued blessing that we're just here today. It's always undervalued. We as a people, we kind of undervalue it all the time until we like get to take a step back and realize like, wait a minute, I'm still alive. Like, yes, this, that, and the third going on, or yes, but I'm still alive, and that's still the greatest gift and joy and pleasure of life, is that we get to breathe and we get to love on each other and pass it along, experience each other. So at core, like, that's who Jaylon is. I mean, I grew up just family oriented. My grandmother and my grandparents and my mom and my dad, like, still to this day, all of my family, they love me. I have so many friends and people that has poured love into me. My community growing up in Birmingham, Alabama, whether I was playing basketball at one point in time, we'll probably get into some of that, or whether I was being creative at school, or when I started to finally get into dancing. I was loved. I was always loved by my family and my peers, and it's a blessing to be able to like say that and to also be able to feel that. And I also feel like that's why I have so much love to give out to people.
Yes.
I also feel like that's why people will naturally kind of like draw to me. Like sometimes I walk in a room and whatever it is, I might not even be saying anything. And like people's energy naturally gravitates towards mine. And so it's a gift to carry that. But again, I feel like my community and my family has poured into me, and that's why I'm able to kind of, but also I feel like it's just the role I was born in. Yeah, I was just born in that. Like even when I think about myself as a kid, which is why I can say I still feel the childlikeness in me, because when I think about myself as a kid, a child or infant, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, I remember how peaceful and how non-conflicting and how full of joy that I was as a kid. Like,
you done said
and I teach kids, so like, let's really talk about it. So this is not nothing that I'm like, oh, I'm just talking and talk. Like, I understand how to read children in today's time because I teach them for a living. So even just being able to do that from my perspective, but think about myself when I was in their shoes, I'm like, wow, it's so nice to just...
It's refreshing.
It's refreshing. My dad told me, like, when me and my dad started to, like, hang out a lot more, one of the first things he told me was, like, you was such a peaceful little baby. Like, you did not cry. Like, you did not, like, you was always happy. We really had no issues with you as a baby. So
that makes so much sense.
Yeah, it did. Like, when he told me, he informed me about me. And I'm like, okay.
That makes so much sense.
I get it now. That's exactly what I said to him. I was like, okay, that does make sense.
I love that. And I was actually going to bring that back up with what you said as far as you feeling like you're still a child or you have that child thing about you. Because I can definitely see, I'm not saying he's childish. That's not
childish. I'm childish.
I definitely have always felt that energy from you. Like the lightness, the love, the high energy. But at the same time, you carry a class about you. At the same time, you have this, I'm so serious, y'all. When you meet him, like, he laughing now, but when you meet him and like he said, when you're just in a room with him, especially when you see him in class, if he's teaching class or even taking class, just the way he carries himself is so mature, so upstanding, like he knows who he is. And that's beautiful. And to be able to do both, that's a gift.
You know, it is. And it feels nice. Like, now that we're just saying it, I can be submissive and say it really does feel nice. It makes me a little emotional to even just hear you and to, like, just be in this moment right now because... Oh my God, it just makes me a little emotional. It does, because it's a soft spot to be able to accept yourself in a good light, because it's so much, that I always try to go in the opposite direction. So just being able to hear people speak on you and friends and then be in this just set up moment for us to like have this moment. Yes, I agree. And I thank you for
You're
that.
welcome. I think you really, look, we only on the first
We're only on the first. Because
that's just how we are. But honestly, I think you tapped into something that a lot of adults, even our age and up, still don't know how to grasp. And you got it straight off the bat. Like, God gifted that to you early as far as how to elevate as you evolve as an adult, but to still hold on to the child innocence and joy that is really the key to happiness. A lot of people get tainted so early, or just going into adulthood. That innocence part of you, that that part of you that is open to exploring, open to discovering, excited for life, just experiencing things. A lot of that disappears when we just trying to adult, y'all, because growing up is ghetto. I mean, I'm going to be honest. And a lot of people focus on the ghetto part more so than the how to love life part. And for him, you done cracked the code, sir. You have. And so
access granted.
So I definitely want to strive to be more like that. And I think everyone should strive to be more like that. So, I mean, find how you can tap into yourself. Maybe it could be a thing where you would probably need a conversation with your parent or your grandparents just to remind you of who you were as a toddler and see how you can tap back into that later.
I do think that is a very actual really great idea and great advice. You know, if you're feeling the need to kind of find yourself back in a certain space, or along the lines of what we're talking about right now, I think that reaching out to someone that like you said, a family member or a loved one or a friend, or like, because sometimes like I've met so many people along my journey, and I've had so many great friends, and then you have some of your closest friends along that journey, and when we don't get to talk often, like, let's think about it. We're really in adulthood, and we're really like doing all the things, and they're doing us as well. The things are doing us, and we're doing the things.
Heavy on that.
It's like simultaneously. Like 1 minute you feel in control, 1 minute control feeling you. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, but with all of that going on, we kind of sometimes can get discouraged or lost or confused. And sometimes instead of reaching out to our family or a grandmother or a best friend or your friend from when you was we just try to keep managing on our own. And that's cool and all, but I really feel like it is power in unity, or in like love, or in connections. That's why we're out here on earth together anyway. So whenever I finally get out of my mood and I call that friend and we talk, I'm like, you know what, you're right. This is me. Or I do value this. Or I do love this. Or I am good at that. Or I have done that. You know what I'm saying? Because it just takes a simple reminder. It takes you carving out a space to like accept, love it on yourself. Really, that's what it be. Yeah. But yeah.
You need a village.
A village.
And thank y'all for being my village.
Ooh.
Thank you for being my village.
Thank you for being my village. Thank yourself for being yourself village too.
Yes. All right. So I want to get deep into, what brought you to Atlanta? Being from Alabama, why are you here in Atlanta? And how did we meet? Because that's the thing. Like, you can honestly you can tell. I know y'all can tell. Like, this is some chemistry right here. Cause
it is, and it's
we clicked from the day we met, man.
But the day we met is so interesting, though.
Run it back.
So, first and foremost, okay, yes, we're gonna talk about how we met.
Okay.
I can't even remember who the mutual friend was. I really can't remember right now who the mutual friend was. Chanel.
Yes. Hey, Chanel.
Wow. Okay. So now, yes. I believe I was still in college when I met you. Yes, I was still in college. I was doing an audition, actually. I think I was auditioning for an agency here in Atlanta. I was still in college, so I was in Montgomery, Alabama at the time. And I needed a place to crash real quick. And Chanel just I don't really even remember how it all brewed up, but I just remember maybe reaching out to Chanel because at the time we're colleagues and her mom lived here and all of that. And I think maybe I couldn't stay with her mom, but she was like, "Oh, I have a friend," or something. It had to be something like that, right? And sure enough, it was Jazz, and I got to your place. We didn't even know each other. She's like,
I think, was it before or after the video? Because I think that's when I first met you.
Wait, which video?
At Sweetwater, when we was in the creek outside. Was that the first? That was the first.
That was the first.
Yes. Because I was familiar with you before you came over.
Yes, we did. Because Napoleon.
Yes,
Napoleon. Okay, yes. I remember. See, it's been a while, but that's when we first met. Yeah. And it was really on some nature, sporadic friend, peace vibes. It's really giving similar to this experience. Just peace, we was going out into nature to dance and just have fun. And
she wanted to do a cute project. What was the song? It was a song by Beyonce.
It was
Pray You'll Never Catch Me.
Yes.
Pray
I
Never
was
Catch
about to
Me.
sing it. I know the song, how to sing it.
Yeah, so we got in the Sweetwater Creek. We had our white tops and our black shorts on, and she was like, "Get in the water, y'all, and just do something." And that was just so fun.
Yeah, so that's how we first met. But I feel like how it was just very significant the second time I met you, and I got to back. We was still fresh.
Yeah.
And I'm she opened up her doors for me to stay. And I made the audition, by the way, but it was just so nice to, like, it's always nice to meet people that just want to help people. Mm-hmm. So that was the very interesting thing about, like, I guess the beginning of our journey, meeting each other and knowing each other. It was like, it was really like, you was just there to help me. And it was so, like, soft and light. We barely knew each other at that point. But yeah, so I thank you for that. And it's just something that I learned about you early on, and I've seen it in you throughout our duration. Like, you're just so kind to people. Oh. Yeah.
And that's history. So what made you stay here?
Okay, so I did not stay here from that moment. I was in college. I graduated college. After I graduated college, I went to Alabama State University. Let's say that. I went to Alabama State University. I graduated. I had the pleasure and the honor to graduate as a part of the first class from the BFA dance program to ever exist. Awesome. We love history. We love moments like that. You can't erase history, so it's just so beautiful to have been chosen, because it's really always about being chosen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I didn't choose myself. I did not even know, a little backstory, I didn't know that the program was, I came to Alabama State undecided pretty much, and I was like, I'm going to do business. Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't know that the dance program existed. I just was from where I was leaving from in my dance journey. I was eager and excited to continue dancing. Yeah. And so I went over to the theater and I'm like, I know y'all have a company. They had a dance company. Uh-huh. And I was like, I just want to be a part of it. I don't really care. Like, I don't care when I be a part of it. I just want to see what dance opportunities y'all got. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, we have a BFA dance program. And I'm like, what is that? Wait, what? Like, I didn't know what. No. The thing is, see, I feel like my journey has been really me being unconscious. Okay. Like, I feel like me getting into my purpose, it was really like an unconscious decision or thing. It wasn't like, oh, I know I want to dance, or I know I want to do this, and yeah, I'm going to do it. Like, I have the big... It was really more so like, this is just who I am, and God has ordained it for me to walk and step into the next part. Right. And it just flowed. Like, it flowed so gracefully. So I'm here, speaking with these people over the department at ASU, Alabama State University. I had to clarify. And they're like, yeah, we have a dance program, BFA, and come to the placement class. And I'm like, I don't know what none of this was. I'd never done an audition at that point. Well, I didn't know that. Yes, it's a lot to unpack here. I'd never done an audition. Just want to say, hold on real quick. And I was just like, okay. I just knew once she said dance, you can dance and be here, I just said, okay. I didn't know what was about to happen. I'm here. So I'm in this room, in this placement audition, in this first ballet class I've ever taken in my whole entire life. And never taken I had recently just started to get into like modern, and like just get into more dance genres. So it was bound to happen. But I literally had never taken a ballet class a day in my life at that point. And they said, I'm at the bar. I'm here holding the bar, doing all of the things, getting my leg ups. I like, my body could not do none of that. Like, I'm beating my mind is blown right now. I'm blown too, because
I didn't know that about you. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, so that happened, and I'm placed. Now I'm a dance major. Mind you, I still don't really know I'm a dance major. I'm just.
And that's incredible. If that's your very first as the placement and you're already a major, like, that's incredible.
I got placed in. I took the placement audition. I got accepted into the program. I got a scholarship. And I was a dance major, but I still didn't know what that meant. And I didn't know what that meant for my future. I was just happy that I was in a space where I can dance more and learn more about dancing. I didn't know what it would come with. I didn't know I would travel the world dance. I didn't know I would train here. I would know I would meet these people. I didn't know I would start to get to meet people that I've watched on TV. I didn't know all this happening. I didn't know. So after I graduated, towards my senior year, oh wow. So we're still in because I'm like, okay, it's so much to unpack. So I'm gonna keep going. But feel free if you have any like questions about like the past to go back. But I'm gonna go back to the question.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're talking about Atlanta. Before moving to Atlanta, I graduated college and I I moved to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
That was my first city and state. I told my grandparents, I'm like, I know that I'm going to move and go do something like, and they were kind of like, okay. Like,
where are you going?
Yeah, okay. Like, where are you going? I'm like, I don't know, but I know it's somewhere, and I know I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
And true enough, I had just left this the previous summer. I had just finished up my training in New York, which was like my second or third summer there in a row. And I was training at Dance Theater of Harlem, and I was like kind of set on living there because I was like, okay, what if I can just kind of work my way up in here some type of way, however way I could.
Big city.
And I'm like, okay, or just find like an opportunity, whatever it was. But it just didn't work out that way. But I remember I had so many opportunities post graduation, like that I had kind of declined so I could continue my training because I declined a lot of offers from like companies because I was so still caught up in like the training. I was so like, I was excited about just continuing to train. And I also still had opportunities and scholarships to go train simultaneously. So I was like, okay. But anywho, after I didn't realize I wasn't staying in New York, I was like, okay, well, let me look into some of those opportunities I had. And they kind of passed by, but I reached out to one. And I ended up landing a job in Washington, D.C. with a company called Dissonance Dance Theater. It's a small contemporary ballet company where I performed for 2 years with them, and I rose from apprentice to artist to senior artist. So I guess apprentice to kind of pretty much principal. And that was pretty cool and exciting to just kind of see that happen. It was very heavy ballet. It was very, I was dancing. Yeah. I mean, throughout my journey, I've always been my gift has always been so loud that the choreographers and teachers I would work with would always notice it and give me like solos or like duets or like the lead roles in like a lot of dance numbers that pretty much sums up my entire experience with dance. I've always danced like those type roles. Yeah. And so when it happened, it was a shock, but I was like, wow, like, okay, like it's a continuation of when
it makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah. And so I stayed there. I kind of suffered and endured a really hard injury. Okay. And that kind of slowed me down throughout my 2 years there. And I kind of made a new decision. I moved to Houston. And I was closer to my dad. My dad lives in Houston. Okay. So I was super excited about that because at that point I really kind of needed just to come back to her home, even though Houston wasn't technically home. It was home because my dad was there.
Part of it was home.
Yeah, and I visited several times throughout my college experience. Okay. And so I was like, wow, this is the first time I actually get to spend uninterrupted time with my dad on purpose. I like that. Uninterrupted, meaning it's life ain't getting in the way. Back in my younger days, life was getting in the way in a specific way. Personal specific way, but now it's like, okay, I'm grown, my dad grown, we got our space. We've always had a beautiful relationship. And so we expanded on that. I freelance as an artist out there. So I feel like Houston really gave me the opportunity to kind of check in with myself as an independent artist, and I put on a lot of independent projects. I got to choose which projects I wanted to be a part of short term. I got to travel. It was times where I literally got to travel to like North Carolina or New York and still do small projects out of Houston. And I also got to train a lot. Houston also stamped my transition into commercial dance and commercial styles. Because before that, it was all
technical.
I mean, I grew up on hip hop because we grew up on the hip. We are the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are the culture. So we grew up on hip hop.
That's how most of us started. That's how I started.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's us. We're the culture. We're it. You're looking at it. You know what I'm saying? And so I did all the dances and all the things, lean with you know what I'm saying? But when I started to really get into dance, it was definitely concert that kind of like shine light on the different genres across dance. And so at that point, as I'm in Houston, I start to transition towards the end. I was like, hey, I'm feeling something new again. And I'm like, I want to move to LA or Atlanta. At the time, I was again starting to get into commercial dance. And I'm like,
those are two spots.
I'm like, because I mean, I experienced so much training and so much like, and I'm like, in order to really make it, sometimes you gotta move. And really, when it comes to the industry of like commercial dance and commercial styles and opportunities, Atlanta, LA are really the main two. New York gives you like a little bit of concert and commercial Broadway, a little bit of everything. But Atlanta and LA are like definitely pinpoint too. So LA was my number one, but financially it just wasn't really an option. Mm-hmm. And I had started dating with my current partner.
Oh, even back then?
Wow. I had started dating him, and we had been dating for a while. Mm-hmm. So Atlanta just made sense because he's from Atlanta. Okay. And I'm like, okay. And then it's right next to Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, I had been, so it's close.
For several years, I had been away from home. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't able to instantly go back home. It was always holidays. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I can literally drive 2 hours away from home. Mm-hmm. And so everything just made sense. So I moved here to Atlanta, primarily still kind of like following, of course, my dream, my goal of dance. And I've been here 3 years now. This is the longest I've been at a place. It's always been 2 and done. Yeah. So it's something special about Atlanta right now.
What we say, 3? 3 the magic number around here. 3 the magic number around here.
So, yeah.
That's crazy. Like, even with all of the moving around and all of the evolving, it feels like just about everything was aligned.
It was.
Like how we were saying earlier, like even though like we're on a journey, we don't know what's happening. We don't feel like it makes sense. When you look back at it, you see how the dots connect each and every time. Like I'm listening to you and I'm like, wow, that happened because you needed to be here. Yeah. Like it's sad, like were you saying it was not like the best thing having to endure an injury, but the fact that you got to go back home and spend that time with your father, and then even when you were there, you still got to expand on your training and your performance. Like that's a blessing.
The injury literally led me to my dad, and I can't be more grateful. Crazy. That makes me emotional just knowing my upbringing and knowing my relationship and the dynamic and the growth of my relationship with my dad and my parents, because that's still a thing. Like, you know, I know a lot of people might not know my mom passed when I was 13. So that in itself, and then transitioning from like one parent to one parent, because like, that's first different. It was just my mom, like counting me and my mom. And of course, my dad was alone. He was there with the journey. Trust and believe, like, I have to say that because I don't want people to automatically think like, oh, your dad just fell into like, you know, the
typical,
stigma.
Yeah. No, everyone's different.
My dad was like there, you know what I'm saying? Like he was there along my whole journey. But when my mom passed, it definitely amplified the necessity for his presence in my life and the necessity for our bond. So it was really kind of like going from one parent to another, because here I am with my mom for this 1 to 13 or 0 to 13, and then now from 13 until now I'm still like connected with my dad, you know.
I love that.
So yeah,
that's definitely a blessing, and I appreciate the need to say that, you know, you didn't come from a necessarily broken home. Not everyone comes from broken homes, and if you have, then I know that it's a tough experience. I know it's unique.
And there's some compassion for you.
We always empathize, but there is room for, you know, a healthy dynamic. Shout out to your father. Ooh, I hope he gets to see this, you know. And shout out to all of the present fathers and the beautiful, loving fathers. All of the fathers. You know, you guys serve a purpose here, and we're happy to have you. Yes. But that's awesome. So I am blessed that God led you to Atlanta. Because Atlanta loves you right back.
I feel
So with all of that, you've had a beautiful journey in your training and developing into a professional artist. But I want to know, how did you fall in love, or when did you fall in love with dance? I know you touched on basketball real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So where did that come from, and how did you transition? You know, well, I don't want to necessarily say transition because you can do all of the things. Yeah. But, you know, when did that realization, like, dance was for you? Because I know you did say in college you just knew that you really wanted to learn more and grasp more, but you still wasn't even thinking that you were going to study it. You know, so when was the time where you knew, okay, like dance is my thing?
Wow. So first I'll definitely say that I've always loved dance. Yes, I just want to make that very clear. I've always danced. I've always loved dance. No matter what I was doing, or no matter what was at the forefront, no matter what sport I was trying, dance was always my primary, just at my heart. Like, it's the one thing that, I was a very creative kid. So I can't just say one thing, but it was the top thing. However, I was a very creative kid. I did everything. I created stories. Me and my friends passed stories around the room, adding on, like, writing, like, just chapter books, little stuff like that. Creating characters, drawing a picture for the character that we kind of create their background. I drew a lot. Anything creative, I danced, I painted, I was very adamant about making a fashion statement with my clothes. Like,
y'all, pause. If you guys, we gonna put his Instagram and his social media up soon. But if you look at his page and you see his pictures, you see his photo shoots, you see these outfits that he be sporting. Y'all, talk about a look. He has it. He has it. I'm definitely saying that. I had to make it known because I be looking at y'all, especially when you started taking pictures for Ivy Park.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, hold up. Hold up.
And they posted it.
Yes. He be doing some dope looks, y'all. Yes. And you really are like a jack of all trades. Like, he does graphic design too. I told 3 he did my latest logo. He does all of his stuff. He probably does other people's logos. Like, he's amazing.
The word gonna catch on us.
The word will catch on. But let him sleep right now.
Y'all gonna wake up. Everybody gonna wake up. But so yeah, I was a very creative kid, and dance has always been something I love. And while I was a very creative kid, I feel like something that kind of pushed me to, like, really start to be okay with my creativity is my mom. When I was very young, like age 6 and 7, she used to try to get me to be a part, because she was very creative. And she styled hair. She was a hairstylist. Okay. But I'm not talking about the hairstylist that just put the, like,
oh, you telling them. You telling them.
I'm not talking about that type of hairstylist. The ones that can give you a great.
You're talking about.
I'm talking about the 90s, 80s hairstylists where you're going to get
cosmetologist.
The whoop, circle going all the way around, and then the bangs hanging right here with this. The
old hair gallery. The artists. Yes, I love that.
Because, they're really artists. When you think about it, if you can, like, make hair sit a certain way and creates a picture, an image on your head to give you a certain aesthetic and vibe, that's an artist.
Yes.
So my mom was very creative. She also was into fashion. I be looking at her old pictures like, Mama, you really had it. Like, Daddy, y'all really had it. So,
no wonder, man.
Man, they had it. They had it going on. And so, the specific moment was when she would always ask me, like, Jay, I want you to come on stage, because she would do hair to put on productions and do, like, hair shows and all of that. Like Burner Brothers, I don't know.
Yes.
She did all of that back in those days.
When is the next? Do they even do them anymore?
I think they do. I'm kind of disconnected from that network, but I think they do. I recently saw something.
I'm going to have to go to one
about
of
them. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So she put on hair shows and would ask me to walk and model, and I would be so scared. I was so scared. But she would always ask me every time she did not, I would say no. So I feel like when my mom, before she passed, I was just kind of creative, but I was kind of shy about it, to be quite honest. And now that I'm reflecting on it, I still did the things that I could. Like, I still would praise dance at church. I still would, be in talent shows. I still would draw stuff. I still would just be creative, but I was private about it, or like not as public about it. Like, now that I work with kids for a living, and I see kids' talent for a living, and I direct kids' talent for a living, and I develop and nurture kids' talent for a living, I'm like, wow, I really was that kid, but just didn't, like, I was too shy to, like, be that
full circle moment. Right?
It's a full. So when I get a kid, it's like 9 years old, and they're everything that I saw that I was. I'm like, and more in their own way, of course. It's like, wow, I'm looking at myself right now.
In the same way that you see what's in those kids, your mama saw that in you.
In me. It is just so, like, it's breathtaking. And so when she passed at age 13, brace yourself, I was one day, when she passed, I was playing basketball. So I had been playing basketball for years. Like, At this point, I'm about to go to AAU. I'm playing AAU. I want to be an NBA basketball player. Like, that is my goal. Like, that's my ultimate goal. I play basketball like clockwork.
Okay.
And I'm good at it. And it's so crazy because now I'm not good at it. Like, I've not picked up a basketball since I put down a basketball.
That's crazy.
And when I put down a basketball, I was 13. It was shortly after my mom passed. I was at basketball practice. The weekend prior to that, I was at my god sister's house. She had this little card in her. You know, back old school when you got the mirror and you put out business cards.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, she had the card and I stumbled across it. It said Mad Skills Dance Company. And I said, can I have this? And she said, yeah, I don't want that anyway. Like, some man gave it to me. Da-da-da. Y'all, I called a number and I'm like, yeah. They're like, hello. And I'm talking. I'm like, I'm trying to see how can I be a part. They tell me about the audition. I go to the audition. Boo, boo, boo. I go to audition. At the time I auditioned, I didn't make it. It was a big group and a small group. I didn't make it into the big group, which was usually like the 13 and up. The small group was like under, right? I mean, to the small group. Usually small group mean you were like younger or like you just needed more development. You need like a beginner. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm dancing. So I'm like, mind you, the man over, I have to look like I have to make this facial expression because it's like this is what I mean by like just destiny and like grace and flow. The man that was over the dance company was my mom's best friend, which my grandmother informed me that is the same group that my mom always wanted me to put me in, but didn't have the opportunity because, mind you, my mom had sickle cell. If you don't know what sickle cell is a disease that will pretty much keeps you in and out of the hospital. Like, to sum it up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up, my mom was always in and out of the hospital, always. So I was raised primarily by my grandparents, but definitely by my mom still heavily, like, for real. But again, it's just like, so she was always in and out of the hospital. She didn't have that. It wasn't nothing about really money. It was just the time and the health and the right health space to manage that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it takes a lot.
It takes a lot. And so, but my grandmother informed me that is the group. And when I met him, he already knew who I was. He was just like, oh yeah, your mama, like, that was cool. Like, he was in the fashion shows.
I know you were bamboozled.
He's in, the guy who's over the dance group that I joined is in the fashion shows. That's on crazy. Camera.
The one recorded. That you didn't want to walk on.
The ones that I didn't want to walk in, but also the ones that I didn't want to walk in, but I also, when my mom finally got it produced and it's recorded, Mama, can I watch the hair show? I asked my mom to watch those hair shows so much it got on her nerves. My mom, can I watch? Not this weekend. You just watched it. Can I watch it again? I literally watched the hair shows like clockwork. Like, if it was Monday, best believe I'm going to watch it again on Tuesday. This same hair show.
That is
until
insane.
The next one come out.
Your full circle just keep on going.
The circle is like this. Yes. And then it's like making circles inside of circles. Like, that's how I feel like my journey has been.
That's crazy.
So, then after getting to that point, I'm at the basketball court at practice. Boom, 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 boom. I know I got an audition to go to. Soon as it's time for that audition, I knew that day, I was leaving early and everything. Like, I was excited. Soon as that clock hit, whatever time it said for me to leave, 6 o'clock, all right, I gotta go. And I never picked up a basketball.
Wow.
I mean, of course, I've picked it one up. I've dribbled, I've shot, but in that same intent and desire, that dedication, no. That's what I said. Don't get me on the meat. I love basketball. It's my favorite sport, actually. I love going to basketball games or anything, but
you just know the level of attention that you gave it is not what you needed to give anymore.
So that is the moment that everything started to change for me, but that's still not the moment that I realized that I love dance and I want to do it for the rest of my life. That's just the moment that propelled me forward.
Gotcha.
The moment that made me realize I love dance and I want to do it for the rest of my life is when I first got to ASU as a freshman and it got past the phase. Now I realize I'm a dance major, right? But before I even realized, I had already been thrown into a 10-minute duet with Lauren. Do you know? I feel like you know.
What
maybe
you
don't. Lauren Smith. Shout out to you, Lauren Smith. I love you. That's my dance wifey.
I'll have to look at a picture of her.
Okay.
Because if I do know you, hey like girl.
I don't know why I feel like you know her, but maybe you don't. Maybe y'all spirits are kind of similar, so it just make you feel that way.
Okay.
We're going to go with that for now.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm open to meeting Miss Lauren.
Okay, Lauren, go ahead.
Hey, girl.
So, anywho, I got thrown in a 10-minute duet word. Mm-hmm. Now, let's really, dissect what this means.
Yeah, 10-minute duet, that ain't no easy thing.
Because I know some people don't know, they just hear, no.
10 minutes.
10-minute duet is giving Alvin Ailey type, it's caliber type of strength type endurance for a dancer. To dance 10 minutes is not easy at all. Mm-hmm. But to dance a 10-minute duet is not easy. Yeah. Even more. To dance it when you are just a novice at something, you're still new in some type of skill set, that's a lot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
To take on mentally and physically.
Yeah, it really shaped the beginning of my dance career because here I am training this duet. Don't even know I'm a major. This is happening soon as they told me, literally soon, I didn't even hit what is it called? The audition, the placement. Before I even did the placement.
They already.
Cave and Grant, one of my teachers. Mm-hmm. I love you so much. He passed away in 2019. I love you so much. Love you so much. He pulled me before I even did the audition and said, boom, y'all gonna do a duet. And we was in the studio just like that.
You was like, huh?
And I'm doing stuff I haven't even trained to do yet. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so that duet was called The Need to Be. It went on to represent the entire Southern region in my entire school. Mm-hmm. So it represented ASU. It represented the entire Southern region because it got selected from an adjudicated process to go on to the Kennedy Center during my freshman year.
Which, was that ACDA?
Yes.
Okay.
ACDA.
I did ACDA too.
It got adjudicated at ACDA, which used to, at the time, was called ACDFA.
Yes.
And then it changed a year later to ACDA.
Yeah, because I did it my senior. I actually went to the Kennedy Center. I went to Kennedy Center after I graduated because I was still in that 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was my senior year where we took it on the road and stuff like that. And then we got accepted to the Kennedy Center after I graduated. So I still went with them to Washington. That's definitely an experience.
Yeah.
And you did it your freshman year?
I did it. Yeah, the first year I did it was my freshman year.
That's crazy.
Because the second year, I think they changed it to ACDA. So my freshman year was the only year that I did it where I knew it as ACDFA.
Yeah.
And so that's when we got adjudicated. And I remember, man, a duet is such a beautiful duet. This is probably the most beautiful work.
Was it ballet?
It's contemporary ballet.
It's contemporary ballet. Okay.
This is probably the most beautiful work that I have ever been a part of in my entire life. It is truly a work of art.
That's great.
And I, even down to the music selection that he selected for it, and it was called The Need to Be. And so it went on to the Kennedy Center. And after I got off stage, even actually just throughout the entire process of building The Need to Be and performing it on a campus base, then taking it to ACDFA and getting adjudicated and then performing it, and then it going on to the Kennedy Center, all of that played a role in me getting to the point at the Kennedy Center where I realized, and these people are coming up to me after I got off the stage and going, wow. Or people are coming up to me crying or in shambles or shaking or just finding a new sense of expression and feeling in their heart and thanking me. I felt like a superhero. And at that moment, that's when I knew that I loved dance and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I said, if I can make people feel like this with my gift and my abilities, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is that I literally felt like a superhero, like Superman. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's incredible. And I love how you say that because I like to talk heavy on purpose versus passion. And I think it's beautiful how we can see how yours intersects because you love what you do. You love dance for yourself. It's freeing. It's beautiful for you, right? Yeah. But the fact that you know why you love it because it affected someone else. Yeah. And I always like to say that purpose is about how you're serving other people in the world. And so the fact that you get to do both in one thing is beautiful. It's absolutely
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you for that. And I love just hearing again all of where your dots connect and all of where, our experiences even past and stuff like that. It's crazy because just learning some of your timeline seems so surreal to me because I just feel like when I met you, it was just a straight shot. But I had no idea everything else that was going on in between the times that we've seen each other. So it's so exciting. Like, I'm literally hearing some of these things from you. Like, I had no idea. When I met you, I just knew you was just all technical from day one. Yeah. You know, and for you to say that your very first real like ballet class was at the placement class, that's incredible. I did want to mention to you, I considered going to ASU. So I was at KSU.
You graduated in 2018?
Yes.
Okay, so we would have definitely been in together.
Yes.
But we still here together though.
So I was a dance major at KSU. I went to the dance program for Pebblebrook. Shout out to Pebblebrook for my high school magnet program. Mm-hmm. That's when I was serious into training for dance. Mm-hmm. But I had to start from scratch too because all I was hip hop too. Like you couldn't tell me to put on pink tights back then. But in order for me to be a part, I had to do that.
Right.
So I literally was learning pointe in my neighbor's kitchen. You know, going to Balletnik for my first ballet classes before I could even audition to be a part of my high school's program. And so what you said about the class, when you got in your placement as a kid, instead of the 13 and up, you were with the younger. Yeah. That was my experience. When I auditioned for Balletnik, that's when I had my very first ballet class. I was with the babies. All tall on the bar with the babies down here. Yeah. And I did that for ballet and I did that for tap with them. And then I was busting my behind.
You can't skip the process.
You can't.
Of training and skill set. You cannot skip.
You can't. And y'all,
You cannot skip. That's basically what she's saying.
I'm not a technical person even to this day. Like, I'm blessed that I worked so hard to get to the places that I have with dance. But even now, like, I was telling him, like, Lord bless it, last week I went to his open class, his open contemporary ballet class, and it's the first ballet class I've been to in years. When I texted him, I told him I was coming. I said, don't make fun of me because I don't even remember how to do a time do.
And there she was, pulled up, doing a time do. Wait till y'all see videos.
It felt good though. It felt really good to be back. But yeah, like just to bust my butt and get that high coming from, you know, that lack of experience and then see like how the paths cross like that. It's so special. Yeah. It's so special. And it is humbling to know like we both kind of experienced something like that. Yeah. But trust me, I would have never guessed that. Yeah. From just knowing you how I know you now. And that's definitely inspiring.
I've been like a ballet boy. I feel like if you look up at my journey, like from the outside looking in, the first thing that you would probably think about my dance is like, wow, like he's a ballet dancer, or like he loved ballet, or like just looking at everything. But yeah, it's definitely been a journey to get there and to like get the skill set and like to allow it to shape my body and things. Yeah.
And it fits you. That modern fits you.
It goes really with that, what you said, that pulled up poshness.
Yes. Yes. No, everything about it. Like, it goes along with the grace that I told, like, his character, how he holds himself, all of it makes so much sense. So, seeing him dance in those lights are fantastic. So, I have no doubt that even though that was your first duet and it was a 10-minute duet, that I absolutely know you crushed it for sure. But don't get it twisted, y'all. He can move a little something in hip hop. He can move everything in jazz. What else am I missing?
Tail feather, everything.
This man can do everything.
I love all styles. Like when people ask me, like, "What's your favorite genre of dance?" or "What's your favorite style?" I'm like, dance.
What you mean? Like, what you mean?
I mean,
I do it all.
Granted, you know, you're allowed to have your favorite, you know, or your whatever
niche.
But I really just love to move. You know,
and that's something good. That's something that makes you very. What a lot of people in our industry would say marketable. Yeah. It makes you marketable because you can do it all. You can do a commercial here. You can do the NFL halftime show here. You can go to Broadway. You can do concert. You can be with Alvin Ailey. You can be with New Harlem. Okay. You could be with everybody. Yeah. So that's great for you. And it's already, it's already showing. It's already paying for itself, man. I love that about you. So let's keep it going. So I want to talk for a brief moment about your experience with The color purple.
Ooh.
Because I did see on your page that you were a part of the ensemble, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
Wow. My experience is I auditioned at Dance 411. And the most thing I remember about the audition was just seeing so many people that I knew and that I loved. And that I had danced with before, as well as meeting new people. But it was just such a beautiful audition just to be in a room full of so many talented people that were a lot of my friends or peers. But also to just be back at Dance 411.
Yes, man.
And that legacy of its own.
So that's what it is now. And that's what I assume. Most of it is just like it's room for rehearsals or auditions.
Yeah, it's really like giving like private type events and auditions and classes.
Because that's where I fell in love with
that's kind of like, that's been like a thing that like even before I moved to Atlanta, like I would always watch Dance 411 videos. Granted, I did get a chance to come down like during like the early 2000s, like maybe once or twice to take Sean Bankhead class, take Jeremy Green. That was, during my beginning stages of dance. But so where we at? Y'all gonna laugh? Do not laugh.
What were we talking about? We were talking about.
Y'all getting real.
Dang, because we just been going all in the tangents.
We just been doing this.
About Color Purple.
Color Purple.
Yes.
We're gonna stay on track this time. All right, so so did the audition at Dance 411. I got selected. It was pretty exciting. A few months later, we started everything, and I was in the jail scene. So if you watch the movie, the prison scene where they're like building the road, railroad tracks.
Oh, that was a nice piece.
So I was in that scene, and then along the journey, I got tapped by Fatima. She like tapped my headshot because she wanted my unique look for a specific scene, which would happen to be the African scene. Okay. So they pulled me out of the scene I was currently in. I was a little sad because I was enjoying it. But they pulled me into another scene where she wanted my face there because I've always, along my entire journey, been asked, like, what, are you from Africa? Like, what part of Africa are you from? Like, and I really, like, love that. Like, I love that people, like, see my genes and like are curious about it because I still haven't done my ancestry. I need a whooping.
Same here, man.
We both need a whooping because we need to know like
I'm ready to go.
I want to know. I'm ready to go to Africa. Yeah. And I also want to know my history, my origin, all of that, like everything down to the nitty gritty. I want to know. So she had tapped me for that. And so now I became not only like a dancer, but I also was a vocalist because they had us doing like some chanting. I had never done any type of job or done anything with vocalists. Like I'm not a singer at all, but so we was doing some chanting. And so in this new role, pretty much what the experience like just going into rehearsals was just like, it was very just open and fun with, I was working my normal job, and when I knew I had rehearsals, we would be notified, in advance. I was able to take off and do the things, even taking off for COVID tests, because them COVID tests, they were paying.
Yeah. They were. Yes. You got a bump.
Yes, I will take off. Yes, on my lunch break, I will go take another. You need me to take how many times? 5 times? Yes. Yeah. Because it was bumping. It was bumping. The bump was bumping. And so when I walked into, this is one of the most, my biggest takeaways from the entire experience is when I walked into the new room of rehearsals with the new people I'm working with, because it's a different cast for this scene. Right. It was already like 2 weeks before time to shoot, so it was crunch time. I was coming in late, like the last person into the scene. And I got to walk into a totally vibrant experience. Here it was 2 weeks before like shooting this scene. And so the energy was high, right? All of the main cast, Taraji, Fantasia, all of those actors, actresses were they were rehearsing like what it would be like. So they were doing like the pre-recording just to kind of.
Yeah.
And so I walked into the room just at a high. I'm looking around, his cameras flying everywhere, things moving. I'm just like,
so this real.
Okay, like this is exciting. Like I'm on set and like, and then I'm so observant because I'm new onto this part of it. And I'm like, it's so much going on. It was just so much going on, y'all. I stepped to the side with my vocal coach to get caught up to speed. As I was doing that, somebody asked me to step in for one of the main actors. Come on now. We're going to get to it. The main actors. I'm talking like the Taraji.
This calling.
This is my first day in this rehearsal. It could have been anybody else that they asked. It could have been anybody else that had their parts already down pat. Yet I was working on something that I didn't have down pat and they asked me. So let's just know that. I go sit at this table where Taraji is on my left and Fantasia is on my right. And then Danielle is on. I love me some Danielle. Danielle is next to her. And I'm like, I'm just looking around like I'm not even talking to them because I'm not even nervous. I'm just still like getting caught up to speed, processing what I was going on to the point where I feel like they kind of realized like me looking around. They just like, hey, and they kind of just started talking to me. And we just had open conversation, which was beautiful. And I mean, I really connected with Fantasia.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, I'm getting a little emotional now just thinking about her and thinking about her journey. And, you know, from American Idol to now.
Yeah.
And just thinking about how she's really getting to experience the fruits of her labor now. And it's so beautiful to see that and to have met her and just kind of like exchange spirits with one another. The last thing, she literally like looked into my soul and was like, and I hadn't even said much to her. She was like, you got a good heart. She was like, thank you, friend. Like, she just thank you for yourself. And she give me a big hug. Like, you got a big, beautiful heart. We barely said.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what we said earlier. This is your energy. This is your light. Like, you don't have to say anything. And it's incredible hearing you say this because hearing you say that makes so much sense for everything that's been happening in your journey. You've been called to places before you even realize that you belong there and you fit like a glove. People are seeing where you belong right away, right out the box.
It is right away.
Right out the box. Yes, you had the audition, but who knew that they was going to call you to sit at the table? Nobody did. And like you said, why would they? Out of everybody else that's been in the room. Because it's something in you, man.
It's a call. Sir. Yeah. And, you know, I was just talking to one of my friends the other day about how, you know, when you get to experience working with a certain caliber of person or sitting next to a certain caliber of person or studying under or whatever, you can add out, fill in the blank with a certain caliber of person. It's really a testament of who you are and what you're capable of and who the heights that you're called to.
It's only showing you where you're about to be.
Yeah, it's only showing you where you're meant to be. And like my whole journey, it's kind of been that for me. Like God has always placed me with a certain caliber, and to be able to like sit next to them and just be there in that moment. And like now looking back on it, I'm like, wow, like that shows me where I'm headed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And where I am now, but also where I'm continuing to go. So that was something that stood out. Another part that stood out was the actual shoot day, the actual film week, where I got to take off of my life, my norm for a week and go and film. And, you know, mind you, the new position I was in was also upgrade in pay because I was not only considered a dancer, I was also considered a vocalist, which vocalists get paid more than dancers, y'all.
That's crazy.
So that check was nice.
I believe it.
And I was there for a week.
So wait, did you get a combination of both, or were you just getting vocal? Were you just getting vocal, or was it a combination of both? Because you were doing. I
think it was a bump up. So it was both.
So like a raise.
Yeah, it was a raise from like not just being the dancer, but the vocal.
Because I know that movie check. That check is nice.
It was nice.
But I only got that check from the background, so I haven't gotten a check like being in front of the camera.
It was nice.
But I know them things is nice.
It was nice, and so you know, just being on set.
Yeah.
honestly was the second biggest like highlight and takeaway from it. Like just being able to do what you love freely and just, be compensated for is always a pleasurable time. But it don't even feel like work because you love it so much and you're meeting so many people and you're getting the whole experience from the costuming to the hair to the makeup to the design to all of this. You're getting to like bond with your fellow artists that's on the job, which you do. We did a bonfire. I mean, the whole entire week, it just felt amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, congrats to that.
Yeah.
And that's a historical movie to be a part of.
And then boom, because threes. Yeah. 3. And number 3 is the fact that, I have to say number 3. I'm glad you said that because why would I leave out? This is the most important. The most important is that my freshman year, the first stage production we did was The Color Purple.
Oh. Look, I want to name this episode The Full Circle now.
The Full Circle! No, the first production, before we did any dance production, I did a theater production as a freshman. And it was The Color Purple.
I'm up for it.
So I already had my sleeveless pants.
Oh!
Y'all late. I been had my.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
And granted, I'll be honest. Granted, I did not get to play in a lot of roles that I would have loved in a lot of the scenes, like sleeveless pants.
Yeah.
But again, it's all full circle. I'm grateful for my place in the film, and it's really nice to be a part of history because The Color Purple is a story that needed to resurface back into our world, into what we're experiencing. Every generation needs to know that story. Yeah. It's a very important story. So it meant the world to me to be able to be a part of that history and, it cycling back into the world. You know what I'm saying? Because if it didn't cycle back, that would have just been a lost story that we need. Yeah. We need that story. You know what I'm saying?
That story ain't going nowhere.
So I will watch
the original.
But I know what I'm saying, though, for the babies.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if it didn't come back out in this way, it would have just been something we knew. Yeah. And if we didn't tell them or watch the movie or read the book.
Yeah. That's very true.
That's very lost. True. But we needed that body of work to continue to guide us and instill what it has instilled in us. You know what I'm saying? As a people, not just as Black people, but as a people, we all need that work. It's very relevant to history and time today, So,
well, thank you for bringing your magic to that movie, sir. I love it for you. Congrats again on that, and it's only the beginning.
Yes.
So let's get more on topic about your brand. What is your brand? Because he is an amazing entrepreneur as well. So let's talk about that.
Yes. So my brand is called Our Youth Arts and Development Programming, which puts on a bunch of programs for the youth, right? It's geared towards, the focus is enriching the youth through the arts. That's the focus. It's very clear and crystal clear. It's to enrich the youth through the arts. There's an emphasis on dance because obviously that's what I do. Like that's my priority. That's what I do the most. That's what I've studied the most. That's what I know the most about. So it's the emphasis on dance. But quite frankly, I've been working lately on kind of taking a step back and trying to be a little bit more open in like the direction. That's why I had to not make it the dance program, you know what I'm saying? Because I do want to make sure that it's inclusive to all art forms because they all work together. Like the better you are at singing, the better you are at acting, the better you are at music, the better you are at, and so forth. Painting, it makes you better at whatever dance, you know what I'm saying? Like it all works together. They all inform one another. And they're so powerful when you use them and study them in that way. Yeah. And so, backtrack a little bit. I started my business. It was called Givan You. It actually was called Giving You Steps, which was pretty much just a hip hop. I was inspired really mostly by the industry and what I seen growing up on TV on 106 in Park. And I was inspired like by the training I was seeing on the West Coast and, even in Atlanta. And I was like, how can I bring it to Alabama? Then I took the steps off because I was like, I feel boxed in. Like, I feel like now I only can give them a hip-hop class. And I'm like, you have so many different things. So I took the steps off and it kind of started to bring more genres of dance into it. And I would travel around the world. That's when I started to graduate college and move around to D.C. I've teach here and there in California and New York. Then I was like, okay, I'm in Atlanta with Giving You. And I'm doing all the things. I started to do like different podcast type things. Where I would have this thing called Sip and Chat through Instagram, where I would kind of sip and chat with my friends from around the world. It was like Giving You Sip and Chat, it was giving you anything, right? Yeah. But then I got to the place where I was like, all right, I feel like I moved to a little bit more towards clarity, and instead of it being Giving You, it was Givan Youth. So then I started to get a little bit more clearer, and I feel like Atlanta helped me because I had been in and out of the educational system. Like in and out throughout me moving all around the U.S. And when I came back to Atlanta, it brought me back to the education system. And I was at a school that received everything that I had to offer so well, and it amplified everything I had to offer. And it really just made me realize, like, I really love teaching kids. I've always taught the youth. When I was training in college, I would take jobs and teach the youth at certain studios around and travel and do this and the third. And I always taught everybody, as you know, too. Like, I taught all ages. It wasn't just youth. But when I moved to Atlanta, it made me realize I took a step back from teaching just everybody. And I really started to focus a lot heavily on teaching the youth. And it made me realize that it's so important to me and that I also am called to do that. So it's really more so of I have what it takes to reach them like no other person, and so I have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I love it, but also I have to. It's a responsibility because I see how me as a person and what I have to offer and my skill set and my personal spirit and personality, it reaches them. Sometimes I'm like, it's literally, for example, to sum it up, a teacher could be like, their main home teacher could be like teaching them something, right? And they can deal with all the problems. As soon as they come to my classroom, I don't have to deal with none of those problems because of the gift and because of how I communicate and reach them. And it opens them up so much. Like, I don't have no kids in my classroom that don't participate. Everybody participate. The kids that don't speak English, the kids that, might not feel like they have the certain, body type, the kids that don't really know much about dance or don't have dance in them, so they feel socially awkward because it's like, I'm not really a dancer. You know what I'm saying? I reach all kids in my class, the kids that might be on the spectrum, like, you know what I'm saying? And just to see that in real time and see how it's changed so many young lives, it's like, wow, like, okay, this is what it is. It's Givan Youth. Then recently, mind you, I don't just teach in the school system. I also have, again, my own business, my own brand where I've generated and cultivated spaces for them to exist and thrive, so far as summer programs, summer camps,
which look amazing.
Yes, which are so fun. Like, I look forward to. I'm like, yes, it's almost time. Like, we about to have a blast. Year-round programs where they've been able to work with me in a small mentorship group, which consists of maybe like 10 to 15 kids, students. It's been growing. It started off with 8 and it's now at 13. And so, though, I just wanted to let y'all know, like, it's not just me in the school. I also have my own endeavors and own, like, programming and own, like, events that I host, or and I have been pushing them towards performances and different things of that nature. And so with that being said, I'm at the place of rebranding right now where we're still continuing and finishing out our season. We got an upcoming performance I'm excited about. Mm-hmm. But we have evolved to the brand, Our Youth Arts and Development Program. The reason is because I realized that in my pursuit and journey of teaching the youth, I love it so much, but also I want to kind of just set some boundaries and a clear division between me as an artist mm-hmm. and the art I produce as an adult mm-hmm. And the work that I do with the youth. And so I also want to shine more light on the actual work that I'm mm-hmm. doing through my youth program mm-hmm. versus who I am and my name. So that's why I took my name off of it, because I simply wanted to, honestly, to sum it up, I want it to be where, someone can find this program and they don't even know who really run it. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. Granted, they will know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They can do research. It's going to be on the page. It's going to be on the founder's page. But that's the direction I'm moving. I want it to be simply a highlight of the youth and their growth. Them. It's literally their show. Yeah. It's their show. It's like everything is them. Yeah. Like, you don't even, I barely want my face on the camera. Like, mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it will be at times, but everything is them. When you see me, you're going to be like, oh, that's the man who run it. Yeah, that's how it's going to be. I want it to always be about
I love it
them.
Again. And that's, again, purpose. It ain't about you.
I don't want it to be about me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why we've evolved into that. And we're right now really just working on the overall evolution, mm-hmm. which is worldwide. It's time to go worldwide now.
Amen.
We're at the worldwide stage.
I love that.
We're at the YouTube online program through a platform. You can sign up. You can, learn a little bit through YouTube. And if you want to learn more, you can sign up on the online program. Or if you just want to catch some quick clips, you can go visit our Instagram or TikTok. Mm-hmm. We're at that stage. Mm-hmm. And it's all, again, about the kids. I have so many talented students. Oh my God. You don't need me. Y'all don't need to learn from me. Learn from them. You know what I'm saying? Put them at the forefront. Let them, because I always try to tell my students, do y'all know that you don't have to wait till you get my age to do what you love? Yeah. And I feel like that's something we as a community, as a people, as adults, need to push our youth. That's why it's our youth. It's not my youth. Yeah. It's not my child. These are not my children. Yeah. These are our children. It takes a village. That's another reason for the name change. It's heavy on our. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's big energy on our when it comes to the youth. Don't play about the youth, because they are next. They are the answer to all of our solutions. To all of our problems. Everything that we're dealing with. When I think about 2020 was a very dynamic and challenging year for us all. Mm-hmm. And for me specifically, it shined a light. It shined a light on a lot of turmoil in the world, mm-hmm. and a lot of questions and thesis statements type start to develop in my head and in my soul. And I start to ask myself, what is my place in this world, and what is my contribution to some of the issues that we're dealing with in our world. How can I contribute? Yeah. And when I asked myself that, it was to youth. Yeah. If I can build and help contribute and build the youth up, then by the time 2040 come, because it's always just hope for mm-hmm. what's coming next.
You never know. They're going be that one situation, that one moment, that one class where you spark something in somebody, and they could be the one to change the world.
And then the next. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's really just that for me. So that's another reason for the name change. And that's another reason for taking a step back from maybe the activity that I do in person with the youth to focusing on the online worldwide basis. Mm-hmm. Because I look at how my students interact with the material that I give them. Mm-hmm. And the reason why the school plays a significant role in what I do with the youth is because there's so many different ways for the youth to explore and dive into dance and arts, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the public school
Mm-hmm.
systems. You have private school systems, which are totally two different. And then you have art schools, which are three different ways right there.
Yeah.
But then outside of the school systems, you also have
community outreach.
You have community, and you have I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Community. So that's like recreational. So you have like gyms, church teams, like teams. It's not really like super serious.
Yeah.
It's really for fun.
Outlet.
It's really for like outlet exposure. You know what I'm saying? And those, while sometimes they are looked at as like the underdog programs or like the underdog dance, because, oh, you just go dance at this gym. No, those programs deserve so much love and so much investment because they're keeping so many kids out of trouble.
The streets,
They're keeping so many kids happy and vibrant and pushing them to their next big discovery. You know what I'm saying? And then so you have the school, you have the recreational community base, but then you also have the profession of dance, like the pursuit of like being a professional dancer, which are found in like, you know, your institutions, you know what I'm saying? Your community institutions where kids are training every day after school and they're training out on the weekend and they're performing and they're getting to travel, but all students aren't getting that.
Right.
So if all students aren't getting that exposure or that same type of value or treatment, then we're really doing them a disservice. When you take the arts out of the school systems, you're doing them a disservice.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? And so that's why I resonate with this school, because a lot of those kids' parents don't have the resources or access to be able to let their child experience what I experienced. My grandmother, man, she paid money for me to go do these things, and she took me. But a lot of parents don't have that. So I figure if I can put myself and my gifts that are large in a space like that, then I can amplify the space. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And I can bring more to them. So that's kind of just my mission around what I do, and the way, like, a lot of people love, like, ooh, let me go teach at an institution because those kids get it. And those kids understand and they know how to play it and they're trained. Yeah. But I don't want to work with the kids that's trained. Like, yes, I do. And I love it and I still do it. But my heart is where the kids who aren't trained and who aren't exposed. That's where my heart is. Yeah. So again, I see the material that I give my students and how they interact. And a lot of it is basic, easy, beginner exposure. It may not be easy to them, but it's very basic, easy. And I see them do it. Like, for example, we got to dance to Sweet Dreams by Beyonce. And it's very lyrical. It's very like, what's one thing we do? When I close my eyes, going out of my head. Just very like, you know, like some fun that they can enjoy. My kids, they ask me all the time, can we do the Sweet Dreams dance? Like, they love it. So I'm thinking like, this is something that kids around the world would have a ball with in their room, being able to explore their feelings and their emotions with relatable words. And it helps them like kind of just
It's more than dance. It's more than dance. It's to be really deep with it, it can save a child's life. Yes. To be honest, it's giving them an outlet. You don't know. And I've done a little work in outreach performances and going to recreational centers myself. And so I know what it feels like to see these kids coming from underprivileged households or just from, you know, challenging environments, and just to give them a space to just escape for even a moment. That can literally save a child's life. And so I want to say kudos to you for being a part of the solution. Yeah. And the fact that you're a part of the solution that truly cares about it, has a love for it, feels like it is your responsibility, it is your duty. That's a blessing. Because again, we have a lot of people that are put in these positions that are only in it for a check. Yeah. And the kids can tell that. Yeah. Just like how everyone can feed off of your light. Kids can tell when you're not in it. They can feel your darkness and all of that good stuff. Oh, yeah, they can. kudos to you for that. And I see our youth going, like you said, worldwide. You're already worldwide. And I'm claiming it for years and years. It's only going to grow, you know. So if you're a parent out there, we're going to make sure that you have his contact information for sure. Thank you for that. And so before we, you know, conclude, you know how I always like to bring the mental health aspect into our show. You know that I'm preparing my 3rd annual Mental Moves workshop. But you actually attended my very first one.
I didn't know that was your first.
It was my very first one. It was my very first workshop. Yeah, so I want to first ask you, you know, real deal. Like, if you can sum it up, like, in a few words, how are you currently in your mind, body, and your spirit? And then let me know, you know, what your takeaways were from my workshop.
Well, I'll start with how I am.
Yes.
I am doing absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I feel blessed. I feel at peace. I feel full of joy. And as I'm saying all of this, it's definitely been a journey to get to this space. And I think it's a forever journey because, I mean, you have to maintain and you have to, like, you know, also go in and kind of edit and all of the things. You have to nurture the journey of your mental health. Like, it's not just something that you can just be like, I'm good. And then you just like, I'm good.
So many of us try to do that.
You have
to
continue. And even as I'm saying this, I still have those moments where, like, I have to, like, go back to the drawing board. But I think the beautiful part is being able to be conscious of those moments and also being responsible enough to be like, I need to meditate, or I need to do this, or I need to journal, or I need to, like, clear my mind, or I need to, like, go on a quick weekend trip, or I need to, like, do things to like, center yourself. Because I really feel like it's really not all about just always being at that place, because there's definitely benefits from being at this place too that contribute to this place and then help you surpass that place. So you experience all of life, but, you know, I have a very clear like heart and a clear, like, head on my shoulders right now. I feel very, like, just tunnel vision and, like, steadfast at, like, what I'm meant to do in the season that I'm in. And I kind of just had my class the other day actually just put me at this new place. That's a whole nother story. But my class the other day just kind of put me at this new space that I'm speaking from now of just, like, peace and joy. And I feel like what's important to me is my softness. More than anything right now, like, being able to, like, maneuver in my softness and, like, not feel, like, pressured or, like, rushed to do stuff or, like, bombarded or overwhelmed. Like, that I don't identify with that. Like, that's not welcome. Like, those type of feelings are really not welcome for me. Like, and that's the space that I'm moving into, and that's the space that I want to, like, thrive in. That's the place that I want to, like, continue to pull myself back to whenever I do slip away and, like, I start stressing. Like, I want to be like, they don't feel good. It just don't feel good. It don't feel good to, like, live in those spaces. Like, yes, you can experience a moment, but realize that, like, that's not you, and those are not welcome in your life, and you don't have to live there. You can experience there, but you don't have to live there. So I feel like I'm in a very, 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 very well state of being, and I feel very blessed.
I love that. And you are blessed. I feel it. And I'm just going to soak up some of that blessing for myself. So, as far as you coming to my first one, I was pretty nervous back then. I was, because I didn't know what I was doing. That was definitely a call that I was not prepared for. But
I can't believe it was your first one.
That was definitely my first one.
Because it didn't feel like it was your first one. But go ahead.
Oh, well, how do you... Like,
how do I feel?
Yeah, what was your takeaways?
My takeaways, to be quite honest, I can't remember it verbatim, like, in terms of, like, the activity. Well, I do remember some of the activities, but, like, the context of it all. However, what I do remember and what I did take away is the fact that the environment that you cultivated for us all to be there and exist with the common goal of, like, protecting, exploring, and, amplifying or discovering our mental health. Mm-hmm. I do remember that environment. And the reason why I remember it because it was an intentful environment that when I was there, I was like, wow, like this is an actual space, a thing. Like just like people come together for a dance class, people come together for this. Mm-hmm. So my biggest takeaway from it was the community of it, really. Mm-hmm. It was really the community of it. I'm also like a mental health advocate myself. And I also like, that is a big part of anything that I do, mental health. Like it leads through my dancing, through my workshops, through anything. So it just felt good to like be in a community that was geared towards that. And it just kind of made me like, wow, these spaces do exist. Mm-hmm. So that was my biggest takeaway, really, just realizing that like a space like this exists and that I can also prioritize and make time for a space like this, just like I do with anything else, dance, whatever, So that was my biggest takeaway from it.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Because they do exist.
Yeah.
They definitely exist.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just in awe of everything about you, and we could go on for days.
We really can.
We could have part 2, part 3, part 4, part infinity, okay?
Yeah, we really could.
But, we're not going to keep you hostage for too long. I want to go ahead and let them know how that they can follow you, how they can connect with you. What we doing? How we going to get you around the world, sir?
Oh, so how you can follow and connect with me, my main way to stay in contact with me is through Instagram. That is my main way. And my name is Jaylon, Jaylon Givan, Giv as in Victor, AN on Instagram. And pretty much through there, you can kind of like find out all of everything else that I do. My workshops. I have workshops coming up. Actually, my next one is in Atlanta. March the 29th. Friday, March the 29th. Yeah, bi-weekly. And it's going to be bi-weekly. So, just kind of stay in contact and connected with that because I'm going to be doing a lot of things through my class and my contemporary ballet class. I'm going to be doing a lot of things. Like a lot. Like I can't even talk about it right now.
This man is moving.
As far as my youth program and the youth work that I do is Our Youth Arts on Instagram. And that's a great way to stay connected with all of the youth work I do. Never hesitate to just DM me or find my email in my bio and email me about anything. I'm always open to networking and meeting new people and talking about, it don't even have to be dance related. You know what I'm saying? Just never hesitate. I feel like sometimes we hesitate to reach out to people because you be like, oh, I don't know if they're going.
Yeah.
Or if
they're approachable.
But no, I'm approachable.
He is. He very much is. Thank you so much. And thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your light. Thank you for your magic. Thank you for everything, Jaylon. I love you.
I love you too.
Yes. And guys, don't forget that you can follow us on Instagram at MovesU, the letter U, LLC, and make sure again that you like, follow, and subscribe to Moves You Heard on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. All right, so you guys know when we wrap up, I always got to leave you with this. Whether you're going through highs or going through lows, just know that I'll be right there with you to keep on moving one step at a time. Bye, y'all! Hey, we did that!